The Chicago Bears' recent trades, they are even better than you think. GM Ryan Poles, he made two trades this offseason. He sent a fourth rounder to the Chargers for wide receiver Keenan Allen. Also, very underrated, he sent a fifth rounder to the Buffalo Bills for offensive lineman Ryan Bates. Both of these trades are better than any of us initially thought, and they're part of the big picture that our GM is painting during this offseason. What's up? I'm Sean. This is Sports Talk Bears. Hey, join our community here as we push towards 10,000 subscribers. Please just hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you here. So these trades, they do two things. Both trades, they fill huge needs at two major positions, and also they give the Bears franchise unusual flexibility when it comes to the NFL draft. GM Ryan Poles approached free agency in a surprisingly unusual way, right? An opportunity to build depth, draft flexibility. We had a ridiculous amount of holes on this roster, and it was incredibly disciplined to not take huge swings as big names they continued to sign with other teams. He also did something notable as well. He made sure he had money left. So if an unexpected player comes available, he could pounce. And that's exactly what he did with Keenan Allen. He was on the market for a new wide receiver, as we all know. He was planning to bring some name guys in, but then the knowledge came in that Allen, he'd be likely a cap casualty with the Chargers, and a deal came together within hours. Poles sent a fourth rounder, and here he is. So it's a really good pick. It's underrated, and I want to detail why. I'm going to go to this story here on The Athletic. You guys know The Athletic is awesome. I don't need to tell you that, but give this whole story a watch. So to hear from Ryan Poles at the NFL owners meetings, that's one of the things our staff does really well. Just identify potential cap casualties based on what other teams are looking to do. He said this Monday, as I said, at the annual NFL League meeting in Orlando, and he's talking about the Allen deal a little more. Keenan Allen popped up, which was a really cool opportunity for where we're headed, which is going to be with a young quarterback. I thought it was an absolute perfect fit. I don't think there's a better receiver in the league that can be better for a young quarterback in terms of understanding the NFL, timing, space, reading defenses. So I think that's a great addition. It balances the field with wide receiver DJ Moore on the other side, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett now at tight end, DeAndre Swift, excuse me, at running back. We have a lot of really cool things that can get going and allow us to be dynamic and really special. We didn't have total clarity on it, though. But when it happened, we were able to adjust and get into some conversations that we could capitalize on. My time in KC, I watched Keenan Allen do some really cool things for a long period of time, and to watch the tape, it actually blew me away of how high of a level he's still playing at this age. So now Poles, he accomplished two things. We're no longer desperate for a number two receiver. Sure, I would absolutely love Rome Odunze, for example, but if the board dictates something different at 9, or if he's already gone, we have the ability to just pick the best player, right? And with Allen in the fold, Poles, he's also hinted at the priority of getting him signed for multiple years. And Allen also stated that he wouldn't have come to the Bears if he thought it was going to be for 1 year and done, a multi-year contract that should definitely get done. And a little more on Allen. With Allen and Moore as one of the best wideout tandems in the league, I think there's no question to that. There's no longer pressure at number 9. We can choose another position there. We can trade down. We can still get a quality receiver if we do that and take advantage of one of the deepest drafts at wideout in memory. I think it's the deepest in decades. Guys like Mitchell, one of my favorite guys in the draft, Thomas Jr., Worthy, McConkey, Franklin, Rice out of U of M, Rice out of USC, Wilson out of U of M. We can just draft quality guys a little later, right? We can be able to develop them under the best mentorship possible, and they can hone their craft by being a number 3 and also contribute immediately without having to be the alpha. Man, it makes for a great draft situation for the Bears even better. Now we can give a rookie quarterback an almost unprecedented offense to join up with. 2 1,200-yard receivers, one of the best rushing attacks in the game with newly added speed in Swift, multiple pass catching tight ends. I mean, the Bears are in such good shape here in Waldron. He has what he needs to run this offense properly. This move shows something too, a commitment to developing Caleb Williams the right way. The offensive line is solid. Interior additions that like Ryan Bates and Coleman Shelton, they further improved to an already promising unit. And it's headlined by last year's number 9 overall pick, if you haven't forgotten, Darnell Wright. We are building this offense correctly for once. For one of the first times in this franchise, we're building the offense correctly. Now let's talk about the Bates trade. I mentioned him. This was the first pickup of the offseason, too. It's a sneaky good one. And at the end of the season, we'll look at him as one of our key adds. I mean, Poles wanted this guy for quite some time. Poles attempted to acquire Bates in free agency in 2022 as a restricted free agent. I thought he had him, but the Bills, they matched the Bears offer sheet for Bates, so no dice. Bates started at guard in 2022, but he can play center, which is also the position of Coleman Shelton, as you know, a free agent acquisition from the LA Rams. Poles values players who can play both. And simply adding more veteran players to the interior, especially if all the injuries the front line has experienced last year, was awful. And this is what Poles had to say. With Bates coming in, I feel like we've created some depth there and versatility. It's something that's really bothered me for a long time. Just in terms of the lack of flexibility we've had in the past, it stresses you out from week to week. I feel like we have more versatility now and we have more competition. And one thing that's helped the Bears get a good gauge on Bates, right, over the years, it's who he's played for and who he's played behind on the Bills' offensive line. Mitch Morse. Mitch Morse is a Pro Bowler who was in Kansas City with Poles from 2015 to 2018. So there's even more familiarity there. The big question was, is the 5th rounder worth it? Was it a right trade? I mean, now the Bears no longer have any day 3 picks, none in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. But Bates, he's going to be an important guy in this line. A glue guy, I would say. A guy who keeps everything together due to experience and his versatility. I think he's a younger version of Cody Whitehair. He's a replacement. If you guys know and if you guys remember, Whitehair, he was an important piece for so many years on this team until this last one. Age, salary, they caught up with him. He was cut in the offseason. That needed to happen. But with him joining the team, we get that value back, and it only costs us a 5th rounder. And it's very seldom as well. If you got a 5th rounder that it pans out into a pivotal player on your team, it doesn't happen often. Granted, we have Braxton Jones. He's an anomaly. I'm glad he's here. We got him in the 5th, but for the most part, it's a great use of a 5th round pick. And also, if Poles is confident that he got what he needed, I think he absolutely did. As a player, Bates is going to be a great fit. He can play all the offensive line spots. He's an above average guard. He has great movement. He definitely has the skills to play center or guard. And he also has great length. That's something that's not talked about. In a pinch, he can even play the tackle position. And that's so valuable. He's a rotational piece, and a rotational piece at minimum is huge. We need to enter the season with at least 3 guards deep, I think, with Jenkins and Davis. They missed a combined 11 games last year and 9 the year previous. It hasn't been great. He isn't really a backup. He's going to start some games. We used a 5th rounder on a guy who is going to periodically be a starter for us on this line. I think he's a quality add. Poles, he knows his offensive linemen. He was one at the highest level himself, if you remember. So I trusted judgment on this area implicitly. He's been after him since 2022. He's only 27. The cap hit, it's only going to be about $4 million, so the price is amazing. For Buffalo, he only played 35 snaps, but with those snaps in 2023, he had a PFF grade of 78.7. That's so nice, 78.7. And the thing that I like best, and I saw this on Twitter from Jacob Infante, in 1,434 career snaps, he has only 6 penalties and only 1 sack allowed. Okay, now you have my attention. That's attention. That is a great pull by Infante. And he's crazy affordable. 2 years left on his contract at $8 million. One thing I like about Poles is that he constantly has his eyes on the now, but he isn't willing to overextend on deals, kick a cap mess down the road. It's got to be a superstar to get paid. After Bates, our GM, he also signed multiple offensive linemen with similar versatility as well, guys that can play across the line and plug in where needed. He solved the center position, at least in the short term, with Coleman Shelton. Our line, it's now much better than last year. It's much better than last year, and it's deep. And in closing, we now have a dependable stopgap at center and at guard as well. So we aren't freaking out over an injury anymore. I mean, last year was rough in that respect, right? This also takes pressure off. We don't have to draft someone like Fashanu or reach in the first round out of necessity. Although I would argue that if Alt is there at 9, we might need to make that move. But that would also make us have to trade Braxton Jones. I hear that we could get at least a third rounder for him. Hey, what's up, Banks? My dog's always join us here. But once again, a versatile piece that takes pressure away to force us into drafting a certain position at 9. And what this likely clears the way for, us pulling the trigger on a stud defensive end, even trading down a bit and still getting Jared Verse. That would be fantastic. I think he actually might be a better fit for us than Dallas Turner, but that's another story. I think one thing that Poles is comfortable doing is trading down out of that number 9 pick. If the players aren't there, if something drops in his lap, we have teams that want to move forward for a quarterback. This just gives us so much flexibility that we're not desperate that we have to get a receiver here, or we desperately need an offensive lineman. We need to get him here. It gives us versatility. We can pick the best player available, or we can trade down, and that is incredibly valuable. Just a ton of fun leading up to the draft, but these moves in particular, these are key to setting us up for this draft season. And I think it's been fantastic. Poles has been deliberate. He's been disciplined in almost every single move he's made as the Bears general manager. I think we can trust him, and I appreciate you guys being here. Bear down. Enjoy this offseason. You guys let me know what you think of these 2 trades in particular. I think they're pretty brilliant, and we'll talk soon. See ya.